All right, and we should be live and in Technicolor on YouTube now. Hope everyone is having a lovely day. All right, and we should be live and in tech, and I have sound on my end on YouTube. Why don't one of you guys speak? Jean-Michel, good morning, sir. Speak so the YouTube chat can check your audio. If your audio is working, or Slendy. Give us a few words.
Something. There we go.
Yeah. Just because your guys are on a different audio stream than my mic, so I want to make sure that they can hear both me and then all of you.
Murray, you still have your microphone issues.
Yeah, Murray, you've got just a lot of static, really loud static coming through on your end. I'm gonna mute you.
Or something, I don't know.
Yeah. And of course he unmuted himself. Yeah, something's going on with your audio, Murray. That's not unusual, though. It is Linux, after all. I'm assuming he's on Linux. Maybe logged in on Windows.
Murray,
usually on Windows, everything works with audio. Yeah.
Murray, if you use pipe wire, you can pipe your microphone to your speakers and then check if they work like that.
No. Yeah, it sounded like it was picking up the wrong input. Yeah, it's just all static, Murray.
Yeah.
It's nothing but static.
You can go into settings and test your microphone there in the Zoom settings.
Yeah, I'm going to mute you again, Murray. It's nothing but a steady stream of static.
It sounds to me like it's just turned up way too much.
It sounds like if you had the gain turned up to like 200% or something. Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep muting you, Murray, for now, because it's the folks listening to the stream are not gonna appreciate all that static.
Yeah.
Let's see, Steve Dark Zero has joined the chat.
Hey guys.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, what's good?
Hey everyone.
I'm not usually late, but I was hanging my clothes.
Well, I wasn't late. I actually was kind of early. I was here 30 minutes before the stream started, getting everything set up, and I was ready to go. And I was having some issues getting my camera to work with the Zoom for some reason. Zoom would not pick up the camera stream, and I couldn't figure it out. I did take an update yesterday, of a few hundred packages as usual on Arch. So I was like, well, I didn't reboot the machine after I took the update. Let me reboot. The first reboot didn't work. I spent about 10 minutes fiddling with things. And I did a second reboot. On the second reboot, things looked like they worked. Actually, in one of the reboots, I have a triple monitor setup. One of the monitors wasn't active on the reboot. I only had 2 of my 3 monitors. It was weird. I don't know what was going on with all of that. But hopefully everything is straight now. So what's everybody been doing in the world of Linux here in the last few weeks?
I've installed the Linux on an external SSD. It has 2 root partitions.
Okay.
One with Arch on x86 and one has Fedora, Asahi Fedora for my MacBook, because I also got a new MacBook, and I've been using this for quite a while.
Very cool.
Also, I've been trying Wayland with Hyperland, and it's working pretty well, I would say. The annoying thing that I get is with Firefox, when I try to share my screen, it prompts me multiple times to select what to share.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's still going to be some little issues with
Yeah, it's definitely not done. Wayland is definitely not done.
Yeah.
I upgraded my Manjaro laptop from KD5 to KD6 with predictable results. My icons on the toolbar at the bottom, I have one for KD console, one for Crusader, several of them Firefox. When you put the mouse over it, the icon disappears. It turns black, the same back as the panel. And so you can only see the mouse. If you move the mouse over, all you see is the mouse over from next time on. So if I were, I use it casually, but if I were in a production environment, that would be pretty much upsetting to anyone.
Yeah, that would be a deal breaker, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, when it comes to Wayland and Nvidia, they have done a lot recently, especially when I tried it on KDE Plasma. I tried the beta drivers, the 555 beta drivers. I gained 20 FPS in Cyberpunk on my aging GTX 1080. So I went from 36 to 56, from 30 to 56. So that was something. But everything else is still buggy, and because it's a GTX 1080, and I think this GPU will be dropped soon. So any Wayland love will not be getting any Wayland love. I even tried Hyperland.
Well, that's the problem, Steve. Is so many people on Linux use older hardware.
Yeah, true. But if they're going to start dropping the 10 series, then oh my God.
Yeah.
So
we had this problem. Like 15 years ago? You guys remember when AMD used to not support a lot of its cards rather quickly? Sometimes after just a few years, then all of a sudden you couldn't find AMD drivers for your cards. This was before they really started open sourcing everything, which helped a lot.
Yeah, but here's the thing. We keep recommending AMD cards because they're better open source on Linux. But for content creators, that's not a solution because they don't have access to the encoders. To Nvidia's encoders, so they will be exchanging one evil for another.
Well, that's true. But I mean, content creators aren't like the general population, but yeah, obviously,
we do have
for folks like us,
we do have the open source NVIDIA drivers now, so that situation with NVIDIA is getting much better right now.
Yeah, it is getting much better, but it's for people like me.
Good.
Yeah, for people like me who have an older NVIDIA card.
Yeah, it doesn't support.
Yeah, I'm gonna be left in the wind.
But that's the how to say this is the effect of having an older car. That's nothing.
Yeah, that's we cannot blame Nvidia directly, but they are to blame to a certain extent. Still, we cannot blame them 100%, but there is some blame to go their way because not everybody has a lot of money to spend on GPUs that are $700.
Yeah, if you're running a potato laptop, I mean, you can't go, buy a new machine. I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to keep running, Tiny Core Linux or whatever the hell you can run on that thing,
Yeah, I just tried Hyperland also on my aging laptop. It's an old laptop from 2015. I'm not a window manager guy, as everybody knows. So when I saw that Waybar was crashing every second, I was like, hey, back to KDE I go.
You know what? You are a bit of a KDE fanboy. I mean,
it's not about being a fanboy. I installed Hyperland with Stefan Rabe's dot files, and I didn't do anything else. I just installed it and then installed, of course, Vivaldi too, because that's my browser. So I installed Vivaldi, and Waybar started crashing like willy-nilly, and it kept disappearing, and I had to relaunch it over and over and over and over again.
Or did you try a different window manager with Waybar?
No, the point was to try Hyperland.
Okay.
So I had a goal in mind, and it didn't last 24 hours. I really love Stefan Rabe's dot files. They're amazing, and his GTK utilities to modify all aspects of Hyperland. He made it so damn easy. It was enjoyable while I was modifying it to my liking, replacing whatever theme he was using with lay-in, because I'm a lay-in shill. So it worked. Everything worked. But as soon as I installed Vivaldi, for whatever reason, Vivaldi and the cursors, the cursor theme, the Nordic cursor theme, as soon as I installed those two, Waybar started crashing. I think there's something about the GTK theme or something cursor theme that's not doing well with Waybar, because Waybar is very sensitive to what cursor theme you use.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's still on my laptop. I'm not going to remove
Yeah.
Hyperland right now. I just want to learn something new.
Cursors are a mess on Wayland because you have some applications that use X cursors, right? Like some
Cursors are a
default
mess on
cursor, like Firefox,
Xorg too. So
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, but
that's a
I
mess
think
everywhere.
with Hyperland, I think the issue is with hypercursor.
you
For some
guys have had
reason.
that annoying bug, I'm sure, in X11 where you open one application and your cursor now is about 200 times the size of like
I
where
don't
it
have
was
that.
on your screen before. That's never
I
happened
do-
to you guys.
No,
But I do
not
have-
that didn't, but certain applications just didn't respect the cursor of my choice and just went with
Yeah.
the most basic
default one, yeah.
X
Oh, you get the
X11
X,
cursor.
right? You get the.
Oh,
No, not X, but the most
No, like
most crappy cursor ever.
Yeah, the one that comes with Xorg by default.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that with Firefox as well. It just does not respect my cursor theme, so I just said, F it, I'm just gonna use the one, the default one.
Yeah.
I tried Wayland on my test machine, Debian stable, and at first it worked. A few applications things didn't render right, but it basically worked. But there's a startup script where you can put some bash code in it, you export variables and things in it. I put one in and then went to the terminal and found the export variable. It worked fine. Then I copied my actual script over that I was using in X11, and it crashed right away. And not only that, it crashed to the point I couldn't get up the login screen. I could only go Control F2. And I spent an hour trying to fix it and couldn't. I had to do a ZFS robot to get it working. I think it uses something called portals, and it got stuck in a portal, whatever those things are.
Oh yeah,
It didn't
Portal.
get stuck in a portal because that's just a program that puts between one point and another. What your problem is, you probably had a call that didn't exist in Wayland, and it got just all sorts of wonky because that's not what you do.
Yeah, so I've abandoned it for now. And going back to last month, multimedia video and audio players, I didn't think to mention it at the time, but I've got a bash script I wrote called Play M for Play Media. You can take just about any file, an OGG, MP3, WAV, AVI. What it does, I look at each suffix like OGG, and I went through all the common players for OGG 123, OGG 321, Music 123, A Play, FF Play, and I tested in the path. And if I find the first one I find in the path, I use it to play it. And the same with the video ones. So if I send that script over to somebody else on another machine, I don't have to worry about sending an audio or video player on there. I can just send that small script, and I'm pretty sure it's going to run.
Yeah, I have some. I've done similar things in the past with my shell configs, where I just set up aliases for example, an alias for play MP4 or whatever extension, and it would search that particular directory I'm currently in for all the files that have that extension, and then just add them to a playlist in VLC and start VLC playing.
Wow, you guys are real Linux nerds.
It's not that complicated, Steve. It's like a one line.
I
in
know,
a
but
shell.
doing everything.
But it's not that useful.
Yeah, well, doing everything via the terminal makes us look like nerds. But I recently set up a home lab with something called Koel, Koel, for managing my music libraries, and it's amazing. It's got this old.
What's it called?
Koel.
Koel. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. It's got this old school visualizer from Winamp where it shows you an animation, and it's got a real good setup. The only thing it doesn't do very well is read metadata. So I'm trying to talk with the developer. He's working on a better metadata thing. It's a pretty new bleeding edge container, but it's amazing. I love it, and I love the visualizer. But if you enable the visualizer, it eats up your video memory like there's no tomorrow.
A lot of visualizers do take up a lot of CPU,
yeah, especially that it's running through,
especially
that it's running through the browser.
Some of the fancier ones, yeah, depending on how much they have going on.
only
Yeah,
think so because we had stuff like Windows 7, right? Which had the Windows Media Player, and that came with its own visualizers. And that thing
Yeah.
ran on like 5 to 12 megabytes of RAM.
Yeah.
yeah, but this Cobol thing is amazing. It just needs to work on its metadata thing, and I'm gonna keep using it. I'm talking with the developer currently. He's very open-minded, and I love that about some developers that I meet. And I'm working, and I discovered that one of the Docker containers that I'm using, it's called what's it called? I forgot what's it called, but anyway, it's a comic book and ebook managing service. One of the developers is Lebanese. He was like, I miss the shawarma in Lebanon. But anyway, I'm talking with him, and we fixed a few bugs with it, and now I have all my comic books in there, all my series, and I can access it via Pages, an app on iOS, and I can read all my comic books from my home lab directly. I don't need to download them locally to the device or anything. I just directly read them from the server. I'm into Docker containers right now. I have a total of 13 or 14 Docker containers running flawlessly on my system.
That's nothing.
Yeah, well, for me, it is something because I'm new to it. I just started. But I'm enjoying it. It's good.
I've successfully avoided that so far.
And one of the things I've been playing with, not here in the last week or two, but after our last patrons chat, we had discussed things like creating an Electron app or creating a Flutter app, and I'd never really taken a good hard look at creating an app using Flutter. So there, for a few days after that last patrons chat, I actually looked into it, and it's actually rather easy. The documentation for Flutter is pretty good to, create some very basic applications with a few buttons that do things. Like it's something that if you're one of these people that are trying to develop graphical applications, especially graphical applications that are cross-platform, Flutter might be worth looking at, because I found it quite easy to get into.
I was considering that too, and I thought about it, but I went to Streamlit instead. It's another one that's quite easy to use. I've got a duplicate image finder in there that just searches a folder and gives you a list of the duplicates, and then you can delete them. On that, I've got a video player with about 6 lines of code. It has drag and drop, and you can support it. It has a lot of components in there, widgets. And
I was kind of hoping that this patrons chat, I can grab some, I can massage your brains a little bit, get some ideas, because I need some ideas for projects to work on, because I'm done with the toolkit. I'm done with the Plasma install. There is one idea that's floating in my head, is fork the Arch install. Wipe out all the profiles, just put the Plasma one that I created, where you can install Plasma in 4 different ways. Enable the parallel downloads by default instead of hiding them behind the advanced flag, enabling the multilib by default, multilib repository by default, tweak it a little bit and make it my own and share it with the world.
Well, my question to you, Steve, would be, how comfortable are you with Python?
I'm not comfortable with Python, but it's
because that Arch install script is a lot of lines of code. It's sizable, and it's a lot of Python.
Yeah, the thing is, I got gifted something 2 weeks ago, full access to ChatGPT 4.0. And I gave it the link to the repository. That's what I liked about the unlocked version. The paid version is you can give it a link to the repository. It will analyze every single file on that repository on GitHub, and it will. I ask it, hey, this is written in Python. Can you help me modify it and delete all that stuff? It will tell me what files to delete and figure out what to do. But I started understanding, because Python is somewhat of a straightforward language. It's not very difficult to understand, because most of the files it's using, it's kind of styled like YAML files. So basically, it's a list of packages to install. When you
Right.
select, if this
Are you
profile
talking
is
about
selected,
the profiles?
yeah.
Yeah.
So the profiles, I think, are YAML. So basically, if this profile is selected, those are the packages or the meta packages you have to install. So I'm like, why not modify those, delete all of the desktop environments and window managers, just keep Plasma, and ask the user how do you want to install Plasma? Full, curated, minimal, or selective. So I want to do that. That's a thing I'm cooking up in my brain, but I need more ideas because now Zero Linux is no longer a distro. It's more like a collection of projects that I'm working on. So the more projects there are, Arch projects there are, the better for making Arch better. The better it is for the users, for the end user.
Are you just
So
thinking
that's
in
what I'm working on.
general or specifically with Arch?
Specifically with Arch. I am an Arch user, so I'm gonna give Arch everything I can because this is where I'm most comfortable. This is where I feel at home. So I'm like, yeah, let's do things to make Arch better for the end user. So why not? But I'm not going to do anything with Calamares anymore. I'm done. I'm just going to do things the way Arch intended it to be. So you want to use Arch, this is how you use Arch. It's all about learning. So I'm not going to be holding anybody's hands. It's just projects that make things easier without holding anybody's hands. Like drivers, I have a script that installs the driver. It will prompt basically my toolkit now prompts user what setup do you have? Do you have a single AMD GPU system, be it iGPU or DGPU? Do you have a hybrid system with Intel and Nvidia? And if they select yes, they have Intel, Nvidia, it will prompt them again. It will tell them, do you have a 900 series and 10 series card or a 2000 series and above card? Dedicated card, and whatever they answer, however they answer, is going to do the necessary to get everything up and running while telling them everything it's doing so they learn for the future. Everything is transparent. I made it verbose so users read and learn if they want to learn.
Well, if you're going to have the user have to answer what kind of hardware they have in their computer, because a lot of people are not going to know the answer to those questions, you probably should also give them like some shell commands they could run to get that information if they didn't know it. Otherwise,
that's a good idea.
Yeah.
That's a wonderful idea. I will do that. I know how to do that. It's very easy. It's
just give them some tips, because I can tell you right now, probably half the people that are going to run that script are not going to have any idea.
Yeah, I could.
What
I could
graphics
just
card they're running.
Yeah, I could just easily use the benefit from the use of LSPCI. LSPCI is straightforward command. Just grab that, see what they have, and it will say, hey, you have this graphic card. But the thing I don't know yet how to do yet, if in case of hybrid, how will it tell them? I could leverage the use of Inksy -G, and it will tell them what 2 GPUs they have. It will do the rest for them. Yeah, there's multiple ways of doing things. I'm very comfortable with bash scripting. I can add that functionality. Great idea, DT. Thank you. But yeah, my toolkit.
Because you don't want people to answer the question wrong either, is another thing.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's not just people wouldn't know. Some people think they know, and then give them a way to check before they answer that question.
Yeah, that is true. Basically, my toolkit has been really well received. Like I have over 3,000 downloads on that thing. And I did also, because Brody keeps mentioning it, he's like, don't run willy-nilly curl commands in terminal. Maybe that's going to cause issues. I was like, okay, you want to inspect the script, click this link, and it will show you the script in raw format. So click here before you do anything. Don't run the curl command before you inspect the script. And then if you're comfortable with it, run the script. Run the curl command and do it. So yeah, that's what I want to work on from now on. I want to work towards Arch and making Arch more approachable by users without going the Calamares route and doing everything for the user like other distributions do. So
well, the thing with running a curl command, it's really no different than you downloading the script and then executing it without reading it either. I mean, they're all the same thing. You probably should trust the person that you're getting the script from.
Yeah,
If you do,
that's why.
then, you know.
That's why I told them click this link. You'll see the raw output, and only run it if you trust it.
Yeah, because
If you
most people
understand
are
what
not
it's
going to
doing.
read any script that they execute on. I mean, a lot of people just download a script from GitHub and then execute it. But then they think, well, at least I didn't run that thing through curl. Well, it's the same thing. Like either one.
It
would,
is.
right, so,
Yeah, if they don't read the script,
right. If you didn't read the script either way, it's bad.
Yeah, but for those who want to
Not
read
necessarily. Not necessarily. There
You can-
there are a class of issues that come out of just executing the script from curl into bash that don't come from not reading the script.
Well, sure, because of you're doing things. You got to download the script for one thing. I
Yes,
get that.
and
Yeah.
and because there is no checks on the actual file,
Right.
Yeah,
whatever is downloaded gets run. So if your download stops at a middle or anywhere, it executes up to that point, including the line that could have been cut in half.
it could
It
be.
might
It could,
actually
and it
do-
could stop at sudo rmrf, and then maybe it's
Yes.
/ documents, but it only reads /
And
Those
and in other ways, it could.
Yeah, but you'd have to really hit the lottery, like the bad luck
Yeah.
lottery. I
Well,
mean, that's such an
this-
unusual kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Well, no, it's actually not.
TCP has some error checking in it, so you should be fine most of the time. And with SSL, I think that it also does some.
Yeah, usually
some,
it's going to break in the middle of a line
no,
that
no,
causes an
no.
error.
No, it actually the way pipe works, it causes an error, yes, but then it just pipes everything you downloaded into the next script, next program, and
Right.
goes on its merry way. It can cut in the middle. It doesn't matter because it will pipe
Yeah.
everything into the next program. It doesn't matter how
If you
many
disconnect,
errors
yeah.
it's thrown. It really
Yeah,
doesn't
that
matter.
is-
The problem. There's another problem that a lot of people don't think like RMRF/ is a obvious issue, but it's not the issue that you should be worried about because we have to be very lucky. If the script
What?
is cut in half, the catch is that your system will be put into a state that is very problematic.
Yeah,
What I think
Because-
people have been doing recently is put into the script that you curl, right? Another curl command to download the script and then execute it. So that way you
Yeah.
don't have the issue of cutting the while
no, but
the
still
download
the
being
download.
No,
interrupted, you know?
that has same issue. That has same issue.
It has the
If
same
you're-
issue.
if you're
It's just-
doing
it still can download the
curl
after
into
file.
bash again, you're just
No, it doesn't,
You're just
because it doesn't curl into bash. It first download, so you curl a script, a very tiny script. And what it does is it downloads a script, it executes it, and then removes it.
right.
So, and that script is very small, so it's be really, really low chance for the internet to go bad. And if it does go bad, then
And that has
There's no
its own
big
class
issue.
of issues.
It
I
knows-
don't,
it
I
has
don't
no
even
big
go
issue.
into. That is its own
Yeah.
class of issues, which
But really,
technically can
it's-
do similar things.
it's not something that's needed anyway. Like instead of just curling the thing, just download it. Just wget it. You just download the script, read it, then execute it if you think it's safe.
Yeah,
Actually, there is a much cleaner way to do it. Like if you want to do single command, great. Just have an intermediate step which saves into a file and checks the hash of it.
Well, I think a lot of devs know that nobody's going to read the script.
Yeah.
Even though they know nobody's ever going to read this thing. Just give them this
I
one
just-
line to enter in the terminal. This one line that'll do everything for them.
I just had
Yeah.
the greatest idea ever. What if I made
What?
like a text classifier that checks if a script is safe or not before you run it? So like it downloads the URL and then runs in a bit of AI to check if it's safe or not, and then just runs it.
Yeah, have ChatGPT inspect it before it executes. That's not a
Yeah,
bad
man.
idea, actually.
Yeah. Not ChatGPT because that would be slow, but the text classifier.
Now the question is, how would it know it's safe? Like,
But
Oh, it's
that's it.
just trained on what's safe and what's unsafe.
Well, if the user has no scripting knowledge and couldn't decipher it for themselves, at least having ChatGPT or some other program inspect it adds a
Stanley,
little bit more safety to it, I guess.
Stanley, let
Here's
me.
the problem.
I'm gonna
No,
ask you a
here's-
question first before we do that for Slendy. If the text classifier basically, if it has an that line that ends, it would still classify that script as a safe script unless it has
Correct.
literally things that are actually malicious.
Correct. And
Because
here's
well, script will
here's
execute. It
yeah.
doesn't
Here's how I can
have that
confirm
much
that.
knowledge.
Yeah, here's how I can confirm that, because recently I discovered something called Hexo. Hexo is kind of like what's it called? What's it called? Hugo. It's the same thing like Hugo, but for blogs, specifically targeted towards blogs. I'm using it right now to for my blog.zerolinux.xyz. I found a theme that I really love. Unfortunately, the configuration file is written in simplified Chinese.
Yeah.
So I'm using ChatGPT, and when you pay for ChatGPT, you have the ability to upload files to it to analyze and then fix in case. And the version I'm using, the model I'm using, is called Codelicious. It has a section where you can tell it to analyze and fix code. I told it, please translate this thing into English. Please, anything that's in simplified Chinese, translate to English. The original config file is 961 lines long. It spat out a 24-line config output. I was like, what's the rest of the script? Come on, give me the whole entire thing. I had to do it maybe 6 or 7 times. It gave me 700 lines. I reached the point where it gave me 700 lines out of 961, which broke the entire theme altogether. I lost the mobile menu. I cannot fix the mobile menu.
CodeGemma is a really small LLM. It isn't really as good or as precise as GPT, even 3.5. Nowhere near GPT-4, for example.
Yeah, but I needed to translate everything because right now I cannot get the mobile menu to work. Now it has a mobile menu.
Another issue is that it's pretty much exclusively trained on code, not really translating text or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's not about translating.
Dark Zero, you could find somebody to do a translation, a quick translation on Fiverr. I mean, like, especially somebody that can translate Chinese to English like this. There's plenty of people that will do that for practically pennies, right? Like, just put a job on Fiverr and just let somebody else do it.
Yeah, true. But right now I'm working on the Chinese config file. It's a YAML file. It's a YAML file. The Hexo uses YAML configs. But what I'm doing now is I'm copying and pasting each Chinese line into ChatGPT, and then I'm doing it line by line. And it's working, but right now, after I've done everything, I've been working on it for like the past 3 hours. I finished the document, the config file. I've translated it all, but I can't figure out how to get the freaking mobile menu to work. The whole theme works. It's just the mobile menu. There's no mobile menu. You click on it, it does nothing. So I'm just trying to figure the thing out, and it's a very advanced theme. It's got, it does have ChatGPT 4 integration, where you have a box at the top of all the other posts, and it tells you, welcome. What can I do for you today? You can connect it directly to ChatGPT 4, but I disabled it because I don't want AI on my website. It's just a blog to jot ideas down, Linux ideas down, not a blog to start a war with people who hate AI. So I'm working on it, but it's just the mobile menu. It's not working. So users who want to navigate the menu only has 3 entries: RSS feed, the link to the main Zero Linux XYZ website, and recent posts. That's it. Three links. But I can't get them to show on mobile. That's my problem right now. I need to figure it out. But I didn't know that there was something like Hugo that works specifically for blogs. I love it, and it's got so many amazing themes and plugins and stuff.
You had a video for that, didn't you, Derek?
Hugo, yeah, I did a video about it. I don't know, 5-6 years ago.
But
it's been around for a while.
It's not Hugo. It's Hexo. Hexo. It's specifically for blogs. You just do new Hexo new. It starts a new post, not a new page. So,
yeah, it's for creating static websites.
Yeah, static blog sites. Right. Yeah.
There's a few different projects around like that.
Yeah, there's like
It simplify the process. It lets you write your posts in Markdown. I
yeah,
think Hugo lets you do Markdown and even
yeah,
org mode if you wanted, but I think that's a new feature they've recently added. I haven't played with it.
yeah. Hugo is limited when it comes to blogs. It's very limited when it comes to blogs. Hexo, it's like they took
Really?
Hugo and they made it into a blog specific thing. There's another one, but the other one, the problem with it, it's completely Chinese. Completely Chinese. Even the binaries have Chinese code in them. So it's like, I'm not going to use that. But I had a lot of suggestions by ChatGPT. Hexo looked the best because it had over 1,000 different plugins and over 600, 700 themes. I have like 3 or 4 that I have selected. One is called Redefine. It's really good, but it's really plain. It doesn't have a lot of features. It doesn't support a lot of plugins, but it does look good. This one supports so many plugins and looks so good. Only problem is it's Chinese.
Yeah.
Most of Hexo is Chinese because it was created by a Chinese person, but it is in English. The binary is in English. Everything is in English, but most of the themes you get have Chinese configs. So you have to play around with these things. I'm having fun right now. It's not a serious blog. I'm just learning Hexo as I go. But I wanted something marked down, simple, and targeted to blogs. So Hexo works the best. I tried a few others. This is the best one because what I prompted ChatGPT was, what blog script can I use that has a lot of themes, a lot of visual customization, and it gave me Hexo. And it was right. So I'm having fun with that, and I'm working on. I modified my my toolkit to use GUM styling in Bash. Now it looks so much cooler, so much cooler. Yeah, I'm absorbing knowledge right now because I have nothing else to do.
Those things are fun to play with. I mean, I played with Hugo for a little while. I had a site that I created in Hugo that I ran for a year or two, and I've created a site using org publish and Emacs, just running everything in org mode, and then it exports everything to HTML for you. And all of these things, though, you will find they're quite limited when you compare them to things like WordPress, for example. I know a lot of people are trying to get away from WordPress because it's bloated, but then you're going to find, little things you miss from having like a full content management system.
Of course. But there's a reason for that. At the end of the day, what you're doing with Hugo and alike versus WordPress, you're generating web pages at build time, which means you're doing a completely different thing than actually running a program at the runtime, which allows you so much more play and so much more benefit than actually compiling something to HTML, JavaScript, and CSS.
Well, the advantage of things like Hugo is load times are much quicker, and the websites
of course, because they're not accessing a database. Of course, it's going to be quicker.
Yeah, no database
relatively quicker. If you're actually any good optimizations, you can have some pretty good speeds on WordPress as well, especially
WordPress. But WordPress, the problem with WordPress is no matter how much you try to optimize it, because of if the database grows to sizes like news websites, like they have tens of thousands of posts, it's going to load slower and slower and slower because of all the amount of stuff it has to load.
Because it has to search that database.
The question is, do you have to access the database?
Yeah, in WordPress you have to.
For a big site, you probably do need a database. That's the thing.
You need a database, but you don't need to access it.
Yeah.
There's so many ways, like caching, that can allow you to go around the database access. Problem is that it's not default setup for you. You need to actually work on things. But when you get those things up and running correctly, you can set up a intermediate cache. Especially if you don't have comments, you can set up an intermediate cache. Then you can set up the cache on the server side.
But if you want to, If you want to open up the registrations and you want to enable to search and index stuff, you will need a database.
Right, but accessing problem for something like WordPress isn't accessing search, isn't accessing those stuff. Even then, search is a lot faster than if you set it up correctly. The problem is when articles don't load. Articles can for the most part be static.
Yeah, articles are static. That's why more people are going towards like, for example, the techzero.com blog is
what I'm trying to say is can be starting in such a way that you can cache them into some sort of, whether it be Nginx cache or into something like Cloudflare, that sort of stuff. You don't need to every time access the database, and for that you don't need a static web page. You can use something. You can use
I know what you're saying, like BigPod, but I wanted to confirm it by telling you that there's a version of WordPress that's called FlatPress that is exactly what you're talking about. It has an option to FlatPress. I'm using it on techzero.com, blog.techzero.com for my private blog, which has only one post so far.
I'll post a link into the YouTube chat for anybody that wants to read about it. I hadn't heard about this, so I'll pick it up.
I can't because I'm on my phone right now.
Plain and simple, just PHP. Wow.
Yeah, that's it. It's super easy to set up. It took me like what, 5 minutes? But the only caveat to it is you have to do everything manually. You have to add the pages manually. Like you have to add the link to the page. Because it doesn't use it when you set it not to use a database. There's nothing to query, so you have to do everything manually.
Mm-hmm.
But it loads super quick. It's like as if I was running a Hugo website.
So you're still on a GIMP tool instead of setting up a proper caching.
Well, I think it uses caching. I don't know what it uses, but I know it's super quick and it looks exactly like WordPress 1.0.
and you can take WordPress and cache it, and you're done with things. Like
it looks like it's been around for a while because it says since 2006, and the fact that it's written in PHP, which like if it was a modern project, they probably would have done something different than PHP.
Yeah.
Not necessarily. No,
but the GitHub is. I think their GitHub. The last time there was a commit was 2 months ago or a few months ago, so it's still kind of alive. So I used it. I was like, hey, it's a simple blog. It's my private blog. I don't blog much there, so I'm going to use willy-nilly anything I could find. But for my Dark Zero blog, I need something that looks good that I can customize and everything. But right now, I'm having an issue with my UPS. I lost the batteries and I need to replace the batteries because every time the power cuts, my computer shuts down. So but I'm working on Hexo. I'm understanding Hexo, and it's so simple. It's YAML. It's just option turn on, turn off. You want to link it here, put here. You want to favicon, that's it. You want to enable this, on, off. That's it. It's very simple. But
I figured out how to fix your mobile menu.
Yeah, this one, the issue with the mobile menu, there's no entry for it in the config file. There's only one nav bar. It's for the center nav bar at the top. But when you go on mobile
function, the JavaScript function, it works.
Yeah, I'm analyzing the files one by one to see where the call is coming from. But I'm going to stick to that theme because it's really cool. It's got this. It's called Solitude. It's got this background with stars, like space with animated stars going in random animation. It's really nice, and it's all transparent and dark, and it's really, really, really nice. So I'm gonna continue with it. If I can't figure it out, I'll just go back to the other one. Redefined. Redefined is really cool. It's just dark, and that's it. It's very simple. Just the menu works. Everything works. I even have the RSS feed working. Just one command.
It's coming from inside the house.
What?
What was that?
I said the call is coming from inside the house.
What? Oh yeah.
Sorry, I waited a few more. I waited a minute or two. Sorry.
But The nice thing about Hexo is you don't touch the configuration of the theme. You duplicate it. You just call it config.themename.yaml. You take it out, you put it in the root of your website, and you modify that one. Like this, if you do any errors, you'll always have the backup from the original files to go back to. So it's really interesting. It's fun to play around with, and yeah, and it's a very quick website, and it's all Markdown, and I'm very good at Markdown because I write all my GitHub readmes in Markdown. So yeah, I'm having fun. I'm having a lot of fun. Yeah. And the thing that made Linux interesting again is our Docker containers for me. I'm discovering Docker containers. I'm testing multiple ones. There are some interesting ones, some bad ones, some security bad ones. Especially if you want to put and the developer tells you does not support HTTPS, and you still want to run it behind your domain. You're like, hey, you're not fixing the issue by hiding it behind your domain, even if your domain is using HTTPS. If the Docker itself does not support HTTPS, you're still screwed, basically.
Well, why would you be screwed?
Wow, you just blew up my ear there.
He got excited there.
Why? Well, because it doesn't support HTTPS, so there's nothing to hide behind.
You know how that works, right?
Yeah, I know how that works. They're containerized.
No, I'm not saying that. Like, you know how ports work. You know how HTTPS works and all that.
Yeah.
There is no security there, like in terms of security, like you're probably thinking. What happens is if you have public port 443 somewhere in front of a reverse proxy, or just open the port 443 that goes to port 80. It really doesn't matter because your connection is very secure till that point. Anything later doesn't matter because between that reverse proxy and that container, it can be unsecured connection because who is going to jump on that if it's in the same network?
Yeah, but the problem is right now with Nginx. There's something coming that's going to replace Nginx because Nginx, whatever it's called.
What's the problem?
No, I'm not saying it has a problem. It's just some people are saying it might have vulnerabilities that won't be patched.
Great, many things have vulnerabilities that won't be patched.
So then we can go back to Apache.
That doesn't change the fact that if you have public port 443, it is equally secure if you have your Docker container open port 443 or open port 80. Except the difference is with port, if you're connecting over port 80, you don't have to worry about having internal, internal SSL certificate, because guess what? You're just making your life harder as an internal system administrator. And what is this new web server that's coming? What's the name of it? Something's going to replace Nginx.
Yeah, it's Open Nginx or something like that. From the last time.
Why do we need another web server? Why can't we fix the ones we have? We've got Apache and Nginx.
I know the history of that, but I forgot. There's some changes in how the company that runs Nginx, how they started licensing things, and that's why people are going. Some developers didn't.
Someone pissed somebody off, and now we've got to fork
agree,
the whole thing.
and they forked into OpenNGX or something like that. Yeah,
it's internal debates.
Well, for security, why don't you just start changing the default port, and then just wait for everything to kind of catch up, and then change it again, just because for security. I don't know.
Yeah,
I know it's more complex than that, but I'm just kind of throwing that out there.
Yeah, there's multiple. Listen, in Linux, what's wonderful about Linux, and this is something that not a lot of people understand about it, is because of its open nature. If you find an issue, if you understand things, and when you start understanding things better, it's easier to fix than it will ever be on Windows.
No, yeah.
Because, yeah. So to every problem on Linux, there's a solution. It's just up to us if we are willing to go through the knowledge gathering or the gathering of knowledge in order to fix the issue. Because, like for example, with KDE, there are bugs that I discovered thanks to Alex. He's one of the guys on multiple Discord servers. He knows things about KDE because he has been using it for 15 years. He showed me some of the bugs that I don't see because I don't use the system the same way he does. For example, if you go to settings and you right-click on the search field, like you want to copy and paste the text you typed in the search field, when you click on the the right-click drop-down menu, it clicks through it. It clicks on the item underneath the menu. That bug has existed for all the entire 15 years he has been using KDE Plasma. They haven't fixed it yet, for example. So, and there's no way to disable that menu unless you click on the search field again. So you cannot click out of it.
Yeah, but honestly, there's bugs that have been in Linux for decades. There's bugs in Windows that have existed since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
Who knows what's in Mac OS, some of the legacy code that they've got. I mean,
So the whole,
yeah, it's just a feature of software. Like sometimes bugs go for years, sometimes decades.
But my point was,
it may seem frustrating. Like, why isn't somebody fixing it? Well, I mean,
yeah. But my point was, if you post about these bugs to the right people, they're gonna get fixed. Complaining about them all the time, it's just noise. It's just noise. It's just nobody's gonna listen. But if you report it in the right place, I'm not saying that KDE's Bugzilla is a good place to post it, but like take me for example. I have direct access to some of the developers of KDE, like Nikolove, like Nathan, Nate, like many of those people internally in KDE. I could just report, like the guy sent me a video of the bugs. I sent them upstream, and they tell some of the bugs were not even mentioned on the Bugzilla, so they couldn't get to things that nobody mentioned. So I'm like, instead of complaining and making more noise and noise and noise that nobody's going to listen, just do the right thing. Very simple. So if you don't want to do it, just give me the bugs, take a video of the bugs or write about them, and I'm going to do the necessary to post them upstream or to the right people.
No. Just quickly, I've got a couple questions in the chat from earlier. Somebody was asking me, did I have my McDonald's coffee? This is Whataburger coffee this morning, but yes, I had my coffee. Somebody was wanting to know if I had a choice between Mac and Windows 11 with recall, which would I choose? I've stated this before, but you guys know, like, I've been in situations where I've had to use a Windows or a Mac computer or whatever, but yeah, I would choose Windows over a Mac machine. Just... Well, I'm not a fan of Apple at all. So
yeah, you are not a fan of Apple, which is totally correct.
That's just my opinion. That's my stance on it. Yeah.
I know
some people think it's crazy that Apple's the greatest thing ever. Like Steve, I know he's about to defend Apple. Talk about his MacBooks. Go ahead, Steve.
No, not at all. I was going to say I am the opposite of you for one simple reason. I'm not defending Apple at all because I worked for Apple. I saw the belly of the beast, and I don't wish anybody sees the ugliness in there. But device-wise, if you want reliability, Apple is more reliable than Windows will ever be. I'm not saying they're more security conscious than Windows, because I was doing the exact thing that Apple was saying they don't do, which is listening to all people's requests on Siri. If you think that whatever you request on Siri is not being recorded, you think twice.
Let's go off this topic and let's talk about something else, because
Apple is very stable. It's very stable, especially for production purposes. When you're in a production,
and I hated answering this question, even though the guy in the chat asked it, because I already knew what was about to happen.
Let's be realistic here. Let's be realistic here for a second.
Yeah.
If we need to compare same price hardware and
right,
or better yet, to have it just even more equal.
We can't compare a MacBook Pro to an Asus that's $300 at Best Buy. Yes. We can't do that.
And even better yet, to make it even more equal, we should compare a MacBook or a Mac device to a Microsoft device, to a Surface.
Right.
And sorry to tell you, but those surfaces are rock fucking solid. They're equally good at reliability than those Apple devices, if not better. And then when it comes to other features, they just kill that Mac devices. Like, for no other reason, you can actually go ahead and do whatever you want with the device.
Yes.
I've never owned a Surface, but Big Pod, he always talks highly of them. I might need to purchase one just to.
They are well made and pretty good.
I know people that have them, and a lot of people do like them. Like, it's not just Big Pod that
Kudu, one of the guys we know, Kudu has a Surface. He was able to install Linux no problem on them. Just you can install whatever Linux, and he had no driver issues, no nothing.
I don't like doing that.
There are certain devices from Surface lineup that require a separate kernel, because certain things might not work because they're specifically made by Microsoft, of course.
Yeah, if you were going to buy a Microsoft tablet, why would you I'm not going to wipe the operating system off of it. That's like the people that buy MacBooks and then wipe macOS off of it. Like, why would you do that?
Well, I plan to do just that. I plan to buy the new Surface Pro. That's really the tablet version of Surface.
Right.
Probably the ARM version. And first thing I plan to do is literally wipe Windows off of it.
Yeah,
because
and you're gonna put
what I want.
Bakelite.
No, it's gonna be Bluefin.
Gen 2.
Yeah. The reason I'm doing that is because I want an ARM device and want a good ARM device. And
I can see that.
I do want a tablet form factor because I don't have a tablet, but I want a tablet that can actually use for something more than games and movies. So logically, I'm gonna buy something that can run an actual operating system instead of Android.
I'm looking at the Microsoft Surface Pro camera at Amazon. It goes from $395 to $878.
Yeah.
I guess it's not too bad these days.
No, I mean that's affordable. I mean, that's not bad.
Well, and Surface Pros are pretty. I believe the Surface Pro, so the latest Surface Pro has like a ARM X Plus or whatever it's called, is like about 1,000. That's the newest one that will begin sale in probably next month.
And the distribution, if you want a distribution that compiles perfectly to ARM, if you want the best optimization, obviously Gen 2 is going to be,
of course,
the recommendation. But
but
I don't know what the compile time would be.
It's probably pretty good based on what that chip can do. But I personally would always recommend something like Silverblue or Bluefin, because it's atomic and just makes your life 1,000% easier.
Yeah.
Atomic. Atomic.
Even if something goes wrong, like it did a couple of weeks ago on my desktop, all I had to do was revert back and
okay. Can I just say something about Atomic? I am willing to use an atomic distro if it was based on Arch.
Why?
There you go.
Well,
Why are you
it's
so
coming, Steve.
arch?
You probably don't have to wait much longer. Like I promise you, there's going to be some available very soon.
Yeah, and
I'm-
I would jump on that to answer you, Big Pod, simply because I love Arch.
Because he's already got all of his scripts and everything. He's already written everything for Arch. He's got his Arch packages. He's got his repos. He didn't want to have to redo a lot of work. If he had to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And at this
and
point,
if
I'm-
anybody wants to make it for something
and at this point, I have to share my own opinion that distros don't matter. That
Yeah, exactly. Distros don't matter. So why would anyone have anything against me loving Arch and wanting a atomic version of Arch?
Well,
I
distros
just
don't
want-
matter in the
I'm
sense
gonna-
that they're all
I'm
the
gonna
same.
tell you.
But hopping
No,
matters
not that,
because that's
not
work.
No,
No, but
in my
I'm using-
opinion is that distros don't matter. You shouldn't care what distro at that scale you use. You should care about the model it uses. So whether it's this traditional model, whether it's atomic, whether it's source based, that's what you should care about.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
and what distro it is, it shouldn't matter because, in my opinion, the best Linux-based operating system will be when it is as thin of a layer as possible. It will carry nothing but the most basic components, and it will be a basic image you install, and then everything is then built on top of that through a
Exactly.
system
Okay,
of
but-
overlays and stuff like that.
But
Yeah, hold on, Murray. Go ahead. What you trying to say?
I've got my main systems are Debian stable, KDE5. My laptop is Manjaro. It was forced on me to go to KDE6. If I didn't use the stable version, I'd be in deep trouble right now because of all the changes in there. There's a difference between a stable version and a rolling release, and I'm protected for next year and a half from any upgrades that happen
Yes.
on the other side of things. So in that sense, I
And-
think it does make a difference.
Yes, but with
No.
atomic distros, you are still safe. But for me, the reason I want to stick to Arch is exactly the reason that DT mentioned. I have so much invested in Arch. I don't want to redo everything for something else.
It's
while
not that the
having
distro matters. I could hop to any distro. I run anything. It doesn't matter. But I've got so much stuff invested in Arch, it would require a lot of work for me to hop. It's not that the distro matters. It's just I don't want to do that work.
Technically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I want the extra peace of mind because it's a rolling release. I want the extra peace of mind to have.
Well, I don't know if
atomic-
that's extra peace of mind. Like the rolling
Yeah.
release nature of it.
No.
Yeah.
I said because it's of its rolling nature.
Mhm.
The extra peace of mind is having the atomic ability,
Right.
the abilities of the atomic
Oh,
system.
I thought you were going to say that you like the rolling release model.
No, I like the rolling release model, but having this atomic thing behind it, it's even more peace of mind. Like if Arch pushes a problematic package upstream, I can just roll back without having to select ButterFS and snapshots and whatever. It's just
Like
part
the rolling
of
release
core
model.
part of the distro, where I can just, it broke my system. Okay, reboot, select a different snapshot, and go into a stable image before
That's
the
what-
modifications.
I've been using ZFS for years, and I've used the rollbacks consistently to get my system back up and going. Same
Yeah.
idea with ZFS.
Yeah, well, I don't want. Here's my point. It's that I don't want to think about what file system I need to use because it's better with rollbacks and snapshots and whatever. I want it to be a core part of the operating system, like atomic distros. Like no matter what I select, this feature is part of whatever file system I select, because it's an image-based system that if one image breaks, I can roll back to the previous snapshot. It's like without thinking, I just install the operating system, start messing with it as much as I want, without having to worry that I forgot to create a snapshot, or I didn't set up the system to take automatic snapshots, or the extra work that I have to do in order to no extra work. You just install the distro, You have the atomic aspect of it as a core feature. Like this, whenever the system breaks, reboot into a working image. You're done deal. You're done. That's why I want an atomic version of Arch. I will jump on that immediately as soon as it
How
exists.
fine grained is it? How can you roll back to 10 minutes ago or 2 hours ago or
To the previous image.
Previous image. So every time you install something, it creates an image.
even one
It's
package?
not time. It's not time based. It's based on when
you do the
image is
updates,
pulled
usually
or
you update the
created.
system, it'll create a new snapshot for you, or new generation that you can.
When you do
fall back to.
modifications, basically when you do modifications.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So it's constantly listening in the background, and whenever you start modifying things, and you save, it's just going to say, okay, before saving, I'm grabbing a snapshot, I'm creating a snapshot, and then saving. So it creates a snapshot.
No,
of the,
not really. Not really. What it
That's
does,
how-
every change there is, it creates a new image. That's a thing it does, because that's how it works.
Yeah.
Because like the change itself is part of an image, the new image. You cannot do like a change without creating a new image, unless you basically disable the whole system. But then when you update, all the changes get wiped away.
Yep.
So each time, let's say you install a package, it will just go ahead and create a new image and build that package as a part of that new image. And the last image doesn't have that new package. And same is with updates, removals, and so on.
And I love the layering system. You can just install a basic system and start layering things. It's not the recommended route, but you can do that.
Yeah, in the chat, I want to answer a question from Henrik from Sweden. He asks, he's quite new to Linux. Is Linux Mint good for someone who is new to Linux? Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, go ahead, try it out. See if you like it. If you like it, maybe install it. If you don't like it, try something else. There's plenty to choose from.
Yeah, Linux Mint is a very good decision.
Yeah,
Linux
but
Mint
if you're coming from Windows, which I'm assuming, yeah, I think you'd be happy with Linux Mint. I think you'll find it quite comfy.
Yep. Even the Arch Linux guy, I would recommend Linux Mint because I've been on it. That's where we all started.
Well,
from.
if he's brand new to Linux, I wouldn't say go install Arch.
No, I'm saying even the Arch user, I'm recommending Mint because this is this where we all, most of us, not all, but most of us started from.
I think most of us probably started with Ubuntu, but yeah, Linux Mint is Ubuntu based, yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I said most of us, not all of us. Not most of us. Most people who are new to Linux, they see either Ubuntu or Linux Mint. It's one of those two choices, but those are the
when you Google Linux,
biggest two.
You're going to get a bunch of Ubuntu. So
Yeah.
like all the search results, it's everything as Ubuntu. As typically like 90% of the people probably start with Ubuntu on the desktop. Which is one to check out if he doesn't like Linux Mint for some reason. If he's not digging the Cinnamon desktop, maybe he'd like GNOME. I don't personally, but that's just me. But again, but Dark Zero loves GNOME. I mean, you have run it.
Doesn't Big Pod use GNOME too?
I thought he did.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. I thought Steve really liked it. He's saying I know he runs KDE, but you have talked very highly of.
It's the second desktop environment I would go to if KDE wasn't there.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you do like it.
To a certain degree, yes.
Okay.
Don't love it, but since I'm a Mac OS user as well, I don't have a lot of things against it.
Yeah.
It's just if you want freedom, just don't use GNOME. Customization freedom. I mean, sorry, I needed to specify customization freedom.
Yeah.
Don't use GNOME. If you want to customize.
In the chat, Josh makes a good point about if you install one of the latest Ubuntu LTS that now comes with 10 years of support, like you literally could run that thing forever for a decade if you wanted to, which a lot of, especially casual computer users, that'd be great. They just install something, they'll probably never update it. and it'll just ride out for the next 10 years, you know, come back in 2034 and install whatever LTS is out at that time.
Yep.
Yep.
That's the benefit. That's one of the major benefits of that
Yeah,
thing.
as a matter of fact, I would suggest that to as somebody that's installed Linux on hundreds of machines, probably for various people, friends, family. If they're the kind of person, and especially elderly people are like this, where you know they're never going to update the machine, they're never going to change it. It's just going to, like, if you come back 5 years later, it's going to look exactly like it looks when you installed it. Put them on Ubuntu LTS, and that is probably the safest route.
Yep.
Because Linux, their support window is not nearly as long.
Yeah. And, well, and here's another thing. If you think that KDE is different on other distro bases, it's not. The KDE is KDE no matter where you use it. It's just the version is going to be different between distro and distro. Like Ubuntu and Debian-based distributions is going to be the old version.
Hannah Montana still on 4.2.
Yeah. But that's the biggest difference. It's not going to be Plasma is configured differently or no, Plasma is Plasma. So that's why every distribution I install on my systems, they all use KDE Plasma because this is where I'm comfortable. So the only thing that's different is the way their package manager works and their configurations.
I think a lot of Windows users would like Plasma. Again, if they like digging around a little bit. The problem with Plasma, like for somebody that just wants to use a computer and never learn anything about it, is with Plasma you do have to sometimes go into the settings, and the settings, there's a ton of settings. It's kind of confusing where everything's at. That could be overwhelming to some people.
Yeah.
Ask AI. I got stuff.
Hey, that's a good idea. Just have ChatGPT tell you where the Plasma settings are.
I think one day they might have their own ChatGPT for things.
That's coming probably in probably GNOME and Plasma at some point. I bet we have some AI integration to. You won't even have to make the changes yourself. You just ask the AI to make the changes for you.
Sooner or later, yeah.
Yep.
Well, even the fact that I have been using KDE Plasma for the past 5 years, I still use the search field in KDE settings. That's how convoluted it is. So even after 5 years, I still find myself using the search field in settings. It's not very, very user friendly at all.
I'm used to it. I've done so many that I can do it mostly by rote now. And just one or two settings. It's a matter you don't do it often enough to become used to it.
That's the problem. That's the problem I have. You know, I always fumble around trying to start this live stream every month. It's because I go 30 days in between live streams. I don't remember where the live dashboard thingy is in YouTube. Like, if it's not something you use every day, you're not going to remember it unless you write it down.
But now, after finding out that YouTube is no longer going to be able to pay me for everything, because with an issue with my bank, being a very small village bank, it's not communicating with Google anymore. I don't do anything except live streams once a month because I enjoy live streams more than making videos. So because it's going to be once a month, I keep forgetting the settings in OBS.
And you can't really communicate with anyone at Google.
I try because I'm such a small channel.
You can't find they're not going to talk to you about anything. Any problem you have, you'll never talk to a live person about.
No, especially that I'm such a small channel. They're like, who is that little ant? So
I've had this issue where when I'm doing my taxes every year, I never get a W-2 from Google, even though they're sending one. The reason is they have an address of mine from like 23, 24 years ago, because that's when I first signed up for a Google account. You know, because I've been on the computer for a long time, obviously. I don't remember, like, I'm not at that address. I don't even live in that state. I don't have the email address that I was using at that time, which is a real problem. I don't even know what the email address was. So I can't change anything with my Google account. Like whatever information they have, I can never change because you can't actually change your email to a different email for your Google account. They won't let you change it. I guess the only thing I've had suggested was I could delete my Google account, which means I would have to delete my entire YouTube channel. Everything associated with that account goes away, and start a new account. And then I could give them the right address. Of course, that defeats the whole purpose if I have to delete everything to, I was like, why is $1 trillion company would make things so difficult? Things that seem simple. Like I should just give them my new email address, my new physical address, but apparently in their system they can't change it.
Yep. So I'm now using YouTube just as a tool to get the knowledge out there. Every time I learn something new, like now I'm learning Hexo. I might make a video about Hexo, telling people, hey, if you have a blog, you want something like Hugo, you have Hexo. But I'm not going to be using it as a financial thing to make money out of, because that's why a lot of people start YouTube thinking that they're going to make a lot of money out of it, like the big names out there, which isn't the fact. And I'm just going to use it as a tool and not force myself to it. But I'm going to still make videos, but not as often as I used to, because the fact that I cannot get paid from it and there's no financial gain out of it that I'm going to make out of it. It's just going to be yet another tool that I use to get the knowledge out there. But other than that, I'm not going to force myself anymore.
I do think it's a little shady on Google's part that so many channels on YouTube are not monetized because they're smaller. You know, they have that threshold to get monetized. But of course, Google's showing ads on those videos, but they're just keeping 100% of the money. They're not sharing it with the creators. Like, that's not right. But
like I have 1,600 plus subscribers, and I'm having all the latest videos that I made recently are getting over 2,000 views and everything, and I'm getting better. It's just when you look at the monthly income, $11. I'm like, what? And my bank already, okay, Google takes 30%. And then you have the income tax, and then you have whatever. What do I get at the end? $3?
Coffee.
What? So that's why I'm using Ko-Fi and the likes to make money. I'm not using YouTube to make money. I'm just sometimes, because I have you ever had the feeling, since DT, you are a content creator as well, haven't you had this feeling that where, okay, this is really interesting. What I just discovered is really interesting. I need to let the people know. Let's make a video out of it.
No.
That's the feeling I've been getting recently. Like, I discovered something so interesting, I need to make a video about it. But my problem is, and this is, I had a sit down with somebody recently. He was like, why are you putting so much effort in making it look good? People care about the content. They don't care about what it looks like.
Well,
not a lot of people.
That's not necessarily the case, because I mean, look at some of the really popular stuff that people watch on YouTube. Some of it has no content value at all. It's all production,
flash.
Essentially. It's all
it's all flash.
So it depends on the audience. You know,
it depends on the audience. But when we're talking Linux, people care about the content rather than the design.
Right.
Like if you're a gamer, if
they want something else.
Yeah, they want something else. But when it comes to Linux,
I read somewhere that most data on the internet is stale after about a month.
Yep.
That was their comment. It sounds right to me.
That would make sense. Yep.
I believe it's something like that.
Mm.
And
One of the
most
things I found, though,
is stale for 3 months. So
one of the things I found about making content that you really find fascinating, Dark Zero, because I've had this, things that all of a sudden really interest me. I want to make a video about it because I think, man, this is so interesting, so cool, so fascinating. I make a video about it, like nobody watches it. and then I make the dumbest video I can possibly make. People will watch it. Like,
Yeah, I did that. I did that recently. I did that recently where I shot a video in one shot, one go, no transitions, no nothing. It was just me talking about how to rice KDE Plasma the easy way.
No. A lot of people just like something simple, casual, off the cuff.
That's what I mean.
But
that's what I mean by the
something
Linux people.
Yeah, because I've made some videos that literally required dozens of hours over several days of me putting in a lot of work, a lot of effort, just grueling work. I make this video. The video's really long, so even the editing process takes me several hours, maybe over a couple of days. I might spend a week on a video. And then I finally publish this video thinking I put in all this work. I'm going to get rewarded for it. And gets half the number of my usual views on that particular video. But then I'll make like a 30-second dumb video, like some of my meme videos. People love those things. I put no effort in that thing. That's just the nature of it sometimes. You can't really figure out how the algorithm is going to reward you. Is it going to promote your videos and the search results and things like that? You never know.
Exactly. That's the biggest unknown.
I've had videos blow up before. Like videos I've made 6-7 years ago that got no views back when I made them, that all of a sudden one day, for whatever reason, YouTube starts promoting it in their algorithm. And now all of a sudden it's got tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of views that it never got when it was new. It's like, why now? I can't figure it out.
Yeah, like the funny YouTube you made, where the one that has the thumbnail, the leggings,
no, the programmer socks.
Yeah, the programmer socks. That one.
Yeah,
that one became viral like years after you posted it.
Yeah, I mean that thing. Well, it received a lot of views when I posted it. It was
but
a popular video. But
viral.
The fact that it got millions of views, if like 6 months after I posted it, all of a sudden in 1 month it got like 1.5 million views in 1 month, like 6 months later or something. Like, it was just really weird, and I don't know why all of a sudden YouTube decided, hey, we're going to push that thing all over the internet.
Yeah. It's like strange. I don't know how YouTube works.
You can't figure it out, and you know what? They don't want you to figure it out, because the minute somebody can figure it out, they can game the system.
Yeah. So it's a complete unknown. But that's what I meant in the Linux sphere. Production value is not considered, because the content is what matters. I want to know I want to know quickly how I. Like if you have a tutorial video, I'm interested. I want to know how to do this quickly. I don't want to see all these fancy animations and fancy transitions. And I talk to people in the Linux content creation world. They're like, we're not here to waste time looking at introductions and transitions and whatever. The faster you get to the subject, the better.
Yeah, a lot of the people looking for Linux content are usually people that have a problem.
Yeah,
and they need the answer right away, and they get upset. Like if you have a lengthy introduction that takes a couple of minutes to get to the content. You got to thank a sponsor. You got to do this. You got your animated intro, and then like, dude, give me the answer to the question. That's all they want.
They want everything quickly and easily.
I don't have patience. I think it's the nature of the internet. I think maybe too.
No. The reality is, you have to get, at least the standard, you have to get them used to it as soon as possible. And drive-bys will always be more. They want they want answers quickly, because they tend to not care about you as a creator or your content. They care about that specific one thing. So that's the reason. Like, drive-bys will always want content right away, while those who watch you as a content creator will not care unless you started for a long time going directly to content, because those changes are jarring and problematic. Same with, for example, monetization. If you start with monetization right away, it's going to be less problematic than if you start monetizing years after you started. It's going to be less jarring, and they'll be more used to it.
Yeah. Oh, I found it.
No, that sounded interesting.
Yeah, I just found where the mobile menu is. The mobile menu is in a file called menu.js.
Oh, of course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
toggle menu. Just found it. Thanks to grep, bat grep.
You know what? Because Big Pod loves JavaScript, maybe you should get his help with that.
Yeah, it's in main.js. Main.js.
Main.js.
Yeah, source main.js. JS main.js. And that theme, what I love about that theme, it's got its own embedded music. You can play music in the background. I upload non-copyrighted, copyright-free music to the website, and I can make it play the music in the background when you visit the website.
Yeah.
Not gonna do
Don't
that.
do that.
I know. I'm not gonna do that. It's annoying.
Yeah, please don't do that. Or please don't have it auto start for sure.
It's got the ability to have a video player.
No.
It has an
don't do
embedded
that.
YouTube video player. You
Yeah,
can
don't-
have a locally hosted video player. It's got a lot of stuff, but I'm not.
Yeah, just
enabling any
embed
of
a
it.
YouTube video. Don't do anything
Yeah.
too crazy.
You want to know why I should embed a YouTube video instead of doing that? Because
Why?
it saves you so much cost on downloads and
Bandwidth.
so on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and slow down your web page. As someone who is managing hosting for audio files, yeah, a lot of bandwidth goes just for that.
No.
And for those of you
Yeah.
who do not know what I'm talking about, I'm talking about the podcast me and Dark Zero on, as well as Josh, called No Tax Allowed. Check it out
Yeah.
at show.taxbase.com.
Oh, yeah.
Are you
by-
storing that on a S3? What are you using
Yeah,
for it?
files are on S3.
Yeah. That's what I use to store all my anything I want to save, all my videos. Just in case, for whatever reason, if YouTube goes out of business one day, I've got all 1,700 videos I think I've ever made. The only thing I won't have is I never record my streams, but usually the streams aren't like evergreen kind of content anyway, like, you know, something people want to go back years later and watch. Usually streams are, you know, people want to watch it that day, and usually they don't come back and watch it after.
Yeah, live streams don't do very well.
Yeah, so I don't even bother. Like when I do my start streaming in OBS, I could also start recording and record it, but I just never bothered.
Yeah, exactly. I noticed a lot of people, good people like Matt, for example, during the live stream, he gets a lot of views. He gets hundreds of people watching during the live stream. But when he uploads the edited version, it gets less views.
Yeah, well, because
It takes longer to get the same amount of views.
It's hard for people to watch something that's a live event after the fact that it's not live, because they can't interact with the chat. There's a social aspect to it.
Yeah.
That if they know, if they know it was recorded live on a previous day, they won't even click on the video. They're not even going to open it. They're not even going to give it a chance.
Yep.
So there's just that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this is the state of things. But if you use if I use YouTube the way I want to use it, and it's stress free because I'm not making money out of it. I'm not going to be using it to make money. So I have this aspect of it. So less stress on my shoulders. And now I just give the knowledge, and whoever is willing to give back, okay, great, but don't have expectations anymore.
Well, you know what they always say, you know, you need a side hustle. Isn't that what everybody always says when anytime somebody complains about money? Well, you need a side hustle. Well,
Yeah,
they act like a side hustle is like, oh, I got some free time. I can just do this in my spare time. Well, you know what a side hustle is? Go get a second job. It's really
yeah.
like, I mean,
That's what I'm doing right now. I'm
right,
looking for I'm currently looking for a day job.
right.
But in case I don't find anything, a friend of mine told me, just use your knowledge, keep doing what you're doing, and find someone who's willing to pay for your time, and then meaning somebody wants. It's like Upwork, basically. Just put yourself on Upwork and let people pay you for things they ask you for.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, in the
Simple as
chat,
that.
Merck was saying that I should record my streams to post on Odyssey. Well, I shouldn't have to because Odyssey should sync the live streams. The problem is they have a time limit, I think around 2 hours, and we typically go over the 2 hour mark a little longer than that. And that causes the problem.
Yeah, I don't know why they have this limit. That's weird.
Yeah, especially for some of the bigger creators. Like I'm one of the bigger channels on Odyssey. You can't give me 2 hours, 15 minutes or 2.5 hours, you know, just to make sure some of these streams make it over there. Because they'd get views and it would be good for Odyssey, the platform, right? It's not like I make any money on Odyssey, but it would be good for their platform if all these streams made it over there.
Surprisingly, I'm getting a few comments here and there on Odyssey, but I forgot my username and password. So
Yeah. Well, Odyssey is great if for any kind of FOSS kind of content, free and open source, Linux kind of content, because so many people go there to watch that kind of content. Because when Odyssey first sprang up, it was all about a lot of the cryptocurrency channels that got banned from YouTube, and a lot of the Linux free software creators also were gravitating to Odyssey because of problems they were having on YouTube. And Odyssey, obviously, or at the time, library, free and open source. So that's always kind of dominated the discussion on Odyssey. You find a lot of crypto stuff over there. You find a lot of Linux related stuff over there. And that stuff tends to be the most watched stuff.
Yep. Oh, okay.
In the chat, we've got a side hustle for you. Python programming is $140K a year. Is that really?
Is that true? A year?
That's a lot of money for knowing a little Python.
If you get a good job, yeah.
Yeah, that's got to be a real good job if you can start out at $140K a year with some Python.
It has to be a really, really, really well-paid senior position.
I'm about to say.
Speaking of Python, last month I mentioned about Matt over at LinuxCast having a problem with qtile because Python crashed on him periodically. And he couldn't use it. There's a solution to that, a general solution. There's a website that has an app image runtime for Python right from 3.5 right up to 3.12. And it's quite a good site. It's python-image.readthedocs.io. And you can download Python 3.11 app image, put it in your applications folder. And then when you create your qtile virtual environment, you use that, Python 3.11 image.m-vnv path to the qtile, and install your qtile in that. And then whenever qtile is running, it's using that app image, which is a binary, and it's not alterable, instead of the Python on your system. And it has the other nice advantage that when you upgrade in October, they update the version every October. If you'd installed it with pipx in October, you've got to do pipx -- upgrade. And there could be problems going, say, from 12 to 13, because not everyone updates their 13 packages right away. So that helps you get around that thing. And the other thing is, it has a nice a nice section on virtual environments. If you want to take a virtual environment and say move it from one machine to another, what you have to do manually to convert it, you have to make sure you have the right runtime on the target machine. Like if I move my app over to Derek's, he might be running 3.12 and mine was developed with 3.11. So you have to make sure that there's a 3.11 on Derek's machine. And any of the shebang lines in a virtual environment are hard-coded paths. You have to change those manually to match what's over on Derek's machine. So I was able to find that on my own prior to reading that article, and I managed to automate it with Bash scripts. So I can move it from one place to another, run the Bash scripts, and it will handle all of that for you. And I managed to put it in an app image. So once you've done that, you compile it into a single app image, and you've got your runtime. So I've got an app image for qtile, and we've got app image for the runtime, and neither of them are going to break because of what happened on the target system. It took me about 2 years. I gave up several times, but there's a lot of heavy scripting, but it's really easy to do, to use. You go into the Wing IDE, which is similar to PyCharm, create a project called qtile. You do a pip install for qtile. Then you set the app run to point to the qtile that was just created, and then you compile it.
Yeah, I mean,
that image. Conceptually, it's quite forward. I could do that with qtile, with radioactive. I did it with Lances. I did it, and I can do it in 2 minutes. I can take that in 2 minutes, and I can distribute it in 3 minutes across my home network, because all you do is take that binary folder and copy what's in there over to the application folder on the target machine. So by 3 minutes, I can have it running on Manjaro on my laptop. It's pretty good, actually.
I can see how that would be useful. It might be something worth sharing with the qtile guys. Some of this, maybe it's something that they'd even want to add to their documentation, or I don't know.
It only works in Linux, but I've been using it all over the place for. And the other thing is, once you've got it, you can put, say you want to use Rofi with it. Every time you use qtile, you want to use Rofi. You can put Rofi in the bin folder, in the app image folder.
Right.
Fuzzy find or.
Oh yeah, I mean you can just put all your any dependencies, right?
Yeah.
Or
and so you can ship to somebody. You don't have to worry Excel or XDO tool or whatever. You can ship the whole thing as a package and not worry about what's on the target machine.
Yeah.
So that's worked out pretty well for me. Anyway.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because most tiling window managers most of them expect dmenu to be installed at the very least. So a lot of them have a hard coding for dmenu, but if dmenu is not on your system, you go to do the run launcher, it's not there. So it'd be great if you just app image the thing and have dmenu, or actually have both dmenu and Rofi. Why not? I mean, it's an app image, it's already kind of big. Just throw both of them in there.
Yeah.
That way the user can choose which one,
So anyway, that's where I spent a lot of my time.
No, very cool.
Yeah. Anyway, guess what?
Steve didn't like the qtile talk, or so.
No, I did. It's just something new that I need to learn more about, because if in Python there's so much money, I might look into that.
Yeah, if this 140K a year thing is true, we all need to look into that. We all need to re-examine our life choices.
But I managed to fix the menu on the mobile, and if you want to check out my new blog, check out this theme that I'm using, Chinese theme that I'm using, that I converted to English. Check it out. It's blog.zerolinux.xyz. It just has two posts right now, but I'm going to be making a lot more as time goes by, because I'm going to be picking people's brains as I go, and sharing everything I learn on there. That's not directly related to Zero Linux, because usually I have a forum where I post a lot of these things. But on the forum, it's more related to Zero Linux. This one is, although it's under the Zero Linux banner, it's just Dark Zero, me sharing everything I learned, just codes, commands, scripts, small scripts here and there, snippets, basically. It's a blog where I'm going to be sharing a lot of snippets. And I'm going to be asking for ideas, asking for help when it comes to coding. Like I hit a wall. I can't get ChatGPT to give me the correct answer. I'm asking you, the community, the Linux community, to here's what I'm at, here's what I can't figure out, and to answer me. And the problem with this blog is I can't get the comments to work, because they need API keys and register accounts left and right. So in order to answer me, the only way you can answer me is by tweeting by replying to my share on Mastodon. So or on by joining my Discord server, either or. But directly on the website, you can't answer me. I don't know if that's going to deter a lot of people away from the blog, but I will always link to my Mastodon and my Discord server if you want to answer any of my questions. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how many people really comment on blogs anymore.
Yeah, so if they want to
I don't
answer
know.
me, they just Mastodon or Discord server.
Yeah, but I'm a special case because I don't think I've ever posted a comment on a blog. Ever?
Me neither.
It's like I just don't do it. Like,
yeah, me neither.
Yeah,
Me
I
neither.
don't know.
That's why it's better to do it via Mastodon or Mastodon is a slower. I would reply to users slower, but if it were on Discord server, it's instant. So.
Mm-hmm.
As an alternative to ChatGPT, there's a AI called Find, P-H-I-N-D. It's for developers, and there's a free version that I use all the time. And that's given me significant better results than the other search engines. It's anything to do with Linux it's the first place I go to find something about it. It's
Find.com. Yeah, I found it. Let's see. I'll post a link in the chat. Others
it
may be looking for that.
Significantly better results than the other ones I've been using.
Let me ask it. How much does a Python programmer
average salary
in a year? Let's see if it can figure out what I was asking it. The average annual salary in the U.S. varies widely. Let's see. The overall average annual salary for a Python developer in the U.S. is approximately $112,000. So,
whoa,
yeah, that's still
a lot.
That's a lot of money for the average. It says by experience level, entry level is usually about 84,000.
84,000.
But for entry level, that's not terrible either.
That's for the US. So even if you are outside of US, getting that kind of a good pay is hard.
Ask it for Liechtenstein, see what the average salary is.
Yeah, let me tell it I'm in a different country. I gotta retype the how much does a Python developer make in a year? Give us a country.
Japan.
Lebanon.
Japan. I'm sure.
No, put Lebanon. You're gonna say zero. It's gonna tell you zero.
Oh, it's gonna give me in Japanese yen. You can make on average 13 million yen a year. I have no idea.
For Slovenia.
That's a better one.
It's gonna be in euros, so it's basically the same.
Yeah, because I can't figure out what the yen conversion would be. So, I mean, I could ask to do the conversion, but it looks like it's asking me to log in because I've used up all of my. Oh, okay, it's not that great. Ranges from 25,000 euros to 70,000 euros. Yeah,
that's actually pretty good. I can explain why. Because average
entry
salary,
level will be about 25, and more experience, you go upwards to 70. Yeah,
that's above average pay here.
Yeah, if you ask it Lebanon, if it tells you anything above zero, that'll be surprising.
It's going to say, why do you want to be a Python developer in Lebanon?
Yes. Yeah. It will say zero.
It's going to get mad at me for asking too many questions because I don't have an account.
Yeah, sooner or later.
Wow, it actually can't answer the question.
Well, Lebanon.
How much does a Python developer make in a year in Lebanon? The information provided does not directly address yada, yada, yada. It doesn't give me any numbers. I guess it has no information at all about Python in Lebanon. So
nope. Told ya.
Yeah, you broke it. Thanks, Steve.
The people here barely know what phone they're using. You ask them, hey, what phone are you using? I don't know. My kid gave it to me. What computer do you use? What internet do you have? I don't know anything. My kids did everything.
Right
That's
now,
normal everywhere. That's normal everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Well, there's probably just not enough data for it to draw on from.
Yeah, Lebanon is not very public about everything.
No.
Probably five Python developers in Lebanon.
Yeah, and they may not be reporting their income, anywhere. I mean, unless you've got reliable stats, I wouldn't think it could answer that question.
It doesn't have enough letters in it about this topic for it to know what to put after the previous letter.
Right.
It'd be clear how this shit works.
Yep.
It's not exactly smart.
Yeah. Well, at least we answered the question as far as the job we all be looking for.
Yeah. Let's go crazy on
better
Python.
Jobs. There are better paying jobs.
Well, yeah. Of course, there's a lot of better paying jobs, like becoming an actor.
I mean, in tech, like other programming languages.
I know what you mean.
Hey, he's talking about realistic jobs, being an actor or being a, I don't know, basketball star.
Well, DT, you are an actor at the end of the day.
Well, of course.
I want to be a movie star. Right?
Like, we are all actors when we go on YouTube.
We're all actors in the movie of life.
Yeah.
Wow.
Dev Dark Hexo. I'm looking for a better theme for Hexo because that one keeps breaking every change I make. Oh boy, I will never find one that satisfies my needs.
Yeah, you'll be on WordPress in 6 months. I'll make a bet right now.
Yeah, most probably. I cannot say no from now because so far, from what I'm seeing, all the Hexo themes are Chinese. The good ones. They're all Chinese.
Well,
like
learn a little Chinese, Steve.
Well, I guess I have no choice because all the themes are Chinese. Come on, give me something that's English. There's something called English. Sprechen Sie English?
Yeah, I'm surprised they don't have
because it's a
documentation. That's in English.
They do. Some of them do. But it's the bad themes that do. The good themes are in Chinese. The ugly themes, the very simplistic themes, are in English.
The ones you want are in Chinese.
Yeah. Like Redefined is amazing. I just don't like the fact that it's currently empty. It just has post 1, post 2. That's it. It's empty. It's like until I populate it with tens of posts, it's going to look really empty.
Yeah, you'll get there.
I'll get there. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the problem is you spend all this time creating a theme or modifying a theme, but then you got to put some content on that thing.
Yeah, you have to put content for it to look good. If you just put 2 posts and call it a day, it's gonna look empty.
Yeah. I quit caring about personal websites a long time ago.
Yeah, I quit, but I was like, I created the blog for Tech Zero,
right.
Because this is a private blog where like the post I wrote on there was about my situation right now, what's going on, and why I keep mentioning the fact I need donations, whatever. And I was like, since I created a blog there, might as well create one on Zero Limits.
Unfortunately, we live in the age now where the internet is so centralized that having individual personalized websites is not something most people are interested in. Just go to my Facebook page, right? Or my Instagram.
Yeah, that's
all anybody needs now. It's kind of sad that it's that way.
Yeah, it's kind of
now,
sad.
all my domains, anything I'm not using, I just redirect it to my YouTube channel or whatever.
Experience. Simple as that. It's better user experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm learning. No, I'm doing it now mostly for the learning. Now I discovered Hexo. I'm learning Hexo. If I end up not liking it and switching to something else, I'll be learning something else. I didn't lose anything by dropping Hexo.
No, it is an educational experience because when I was playing with things like Hugo and Emacs Org Publish and things like that, you do, have to think about how you're going to automate some of the process as far as, when you're writing something and then pushing it to the website, So your scripting may get a little better.
Yeah,
because you're gonna script a few things, right? You're gonna have some problems you're gonna want to solve, and it will make you think a little bit.
That's another thing my toolkit does. You know how whenever we encounter an issue on Arch, there's a fix for it that is a command. They tell you run this command, it'll fix everything for you. So I take these, I put them in my toolkit, and under the services menu, service menu, and people can just select option 3 that fixes that specific issue they're having instead of having to go look for it and whatever. It's in my toolkit. Just click number 3, and since it's verbose, they'll be learning something if they read the output, which we know 99% of the people don't read the output. But for those 1% that are interested, the output is there to see what exactly it's doing. So how the fix is being implemented. Right. So I'm like, hey, I have a platform now. My toolkit is a platform and I'm doing it mostly for me because I don't want to have to retype all the commands that fix those issues over and over again every time I install Arch on a different machine. So I just open my toolkit, hit number 3, it fixed that issue, done deal. So it's a platform now. It's a thing.
Somebody has a really squeaky chair.
Oh, that's
and the only reason I point that out is because somebody in the YouTube chat was pointing it out. It says WD-40 does wonders to that.
Yeah, I'll take the advice. I'll take it, Derek.
WD-40, it fixes everything. Right, that's all you need. WD-40 and duct tape.
I'm so used to it, I don't notice it. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, same here.
Well, it also depends on the gain of the microphone. Depending on your microphone settings, it might not even pick up. But obviously it does.
Yep.
My chair squeaks a little bit if I'm rough with it. If I just make tiny movements, it's not a problem. But I'm sitting down, sitting up, like if I was going to get up to go to the restroom or something, I'd have to make sure to mute this microphone because it does make a lot of noise when I get out of this seat.
Yeah. By the way, tonight we're going to have a nice movie experience. We're going to be watching Dune Part 2.
No.
In full 4K glory. Yeah, because I experienced it myself in IMAX, 70mm IMAX. The only right way to experience that thing. 70mm is analog, negative. 70mm, no digital. So now we're going. I was given the hard copy Blu-ray, UHD Blu-ray disc as a gift. Mm-hmm. So we're going to be watching it. I ripped it to my computer. Now it's part of Plex, but it's easier to watch because I don't have a Blu-ray player on my TV.
Yes, and if the YouTube algorithm was listening, he owns a copy that he ripped.
I own
specifying just in case they're listening.
Yeah, this is true. This is not fake. I was gifted the hard copy because it came out in March, not in May, early May. So I was like, hey, okay. I ripped it to put it on Plex, so we are all able to watch it in the living room TV. So we're gonna enjoy that today, especially that my cousin came from France. She surprised us. So we're gonna watch it all together and enjoy that movie while eating. What do you call these tomatoes that are small, like very like cherry-sized tomatoes?
Yeah, cherry tomatoes, grape tomatoes.
Yeah, those. I'm gonna have those while watching the movie.
Yeah, those things are yummy. Yeah, I
Yeah,
love them. I
they're-
get the little bucket of them from the
Yeah.
grocery store and just eat tomatoes.
Yeah,
they're good on their own.
Those are local, grown locally here in my hometown, and they're like it's like as if I'm eating a piece of sweet candy.
Yeah,
They're sugary.
They've got a little sweetness to them, more so than a big tomato.
Yep. So that's what I'm going to have it, and I'm going to be enjoying that, and I'm going to continue working on that blog. I'm going to find a theme that works. Otherwise, I'm going to switch to something else. But my Linux adventure has been revitalized by working on scripts, and Bash is amazing. You can use Bash for a million different other things.
Oh yeah, you're going to learn so much just about the underlying system, the core utils, things you never played with until you actually have to use them in a script.
Yeah, I'm using Whiptail a lot these days. I'm using GUM. I'm using FZF stuff for styling. I'm using Dialog. I learned how to use Dialog. And I'm learning more and more about YAD, how I can turn a Bash script into a GUI, an actual GUI.
Yep.
So, yeah, the more we learn. I'm still on my Bash adventure. Once I'm done and bored with the Bash adventure, I'm going to go Python. That's my next one. That's my next step.
All of us are about to do that now that we know the numbers behind it. Well,
really.
we're coming up on the end of our 2 hours here, and maybe if we keep it under 2 hours, like Merck was asking, it might get pushed to Odyssey automatically. We'll see. But let's get a last word from everybody here. George, you want to give us a last word? Let's see if George is around. He may not be mic'd up. Well, let's go to Big Pod. We'll come back to George if he comes back.
I don't know what to say.
Okay.
Use the right tool. Use the right tool for right job.
Plug the podcast too, Big Pod.
Once again, you can check it out no tax allowed at show.taxbase.com or your favorite podcast listening program. Or even on YouTube, no tax allowed.
Yeah, and you guys, what are you using to push the podcast? Are you using iTunes or?
We're using
Castopod.
Castopod, self-hosted thing. I'm hosting it, so it works.
Yeah, well, I would have assumed that Steve would have got you to use Apple, but yeah, you
well, knowing now that Google Podcast is going the way of the fishes.
Yeah, it's all becoming. It's like the internet itself. Everything in the podcasting world is so centralized now. It's sad.
Of course, that's a good user experience. You cannot fault that.
Well, things have to get worse before they get better. Eventually, people will realize that this sort of thing isn't the way to go. We need a much more decentralized web, really.
Well, when it comes to user experience, centralization will always have better user experience.
It's convenient. I get it. Yeah. Thanks for hanging out with us, Big Pod. Basher52, I don't know if he's mic'd up, wants to give us a last word, but if you would like to share something on our way out, speak now.
Nothing special.
Okay. Well, thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah, sure.
And Steve, I know you've got some things to say. Go ahead and give us your last word.
I have just one last word. I have found a newfound passion for Linux, and so if you really love Linux, you're never gonna find a boring day. Not a single day will pass by where it's going to be boring. Not unless you're just a Facebook user. But
no, I thought you were going to say a Debian user. I honestly thought that's where you were going to go with that joke.
No,
boring days are good days.
Yeah, I like boring.
Well, boring for me. I haven't known any boring days ever since I started using Linux. The only time I suffered boredom when I was using Linux Mint. Nothing was to do. So, but otherwise, when I used Fedora, Rawhide, when I used Manjaro, when I used everything else. The nature of Linux is you can do so much. There's so much you can do. It's a rabbit hole. Like right now, I'm in the rabbit hole of Docker containers.
No.
There's always something. So
Yeah.
enjoy Linux while you're on it. And if it's frustrating and you don't want to bother with it, then Linux is not for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's like that with all of us. It's like me and Flutter a couple of weeks ago. I didn't think I would like it, and I'm seriously thinking about, creating some Flutter apps just for funsies.
Yep, exactly. Funsies is a good disease.
Thanks for hanging out, Steve. Murray, give us your last word, sir.
Okay, going back to audio and video from last month, there's audio editors. I never did like Audacity that
Audacity,
much.
yeah.
I don't think they've changed it in 15 years on it. So I found an alternative, Ocean Audio, OCEN Audio, and it's gorgeous. It's a slick user interface.
It's a Qt app. It's a Qt app. I use it as well. It's perfect. It doesn't fail.
Isn't it?
The only reason Ocean Audio hasn't really caught on is because it's not free and open source. If it was, it would probably be the default that would get installed on Linux distributions.
I was going to say that it was developed originally for a university in Brazil. They don't ask you for email, and they don't have any apparent telemetry in it. So they seem to be on the right track. It's not like
and to be honest, a lot of people that are heavy into multimedia creation, they don't care about free software because they have to deal with so much proprietary software anyway. What's one more proprietary application?
And the other thing is not anything to do with IT or anything. It's my other interest. It's the same as Big Pod. It's cosmology and space and science and stuff.
Oh, okay.
The proton never decays. Not one proton that has ever existed has ever disappeared on it.
Uh-oh. We lost his audio, though.
Yeah.
Somebody did not want him talking about that proton thing.
Proton decay, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if it was a 3-letter agency that shut Murray down there. Well, Murray, if you come back, you can finish that thought. Let's see if Slendy is mic'd up and he wants to give us a last word. I don't know if Slendy is mic'd up. He may not be.
I'm back.
No, okay, Murray, finish that thought.
Okay, so the theory says that protons should decay, but all the tests show that they don't. And every 5 years they do more tests and they upgrade it. It's 10 to the 34th years for a proton to decay, which is a trillion times the age of the current universe. So that's one of the enigmas in cosmology is looking for proton decay, and they're doing tests in Japan and all over the place. So that's just one of the things that interests me anyway on it. So that's it.
Yeah. Well, I share your passion for science too. Sometimes I'll just read random things that catch my eye, kind of like the proton thing caught yours. All right. And I don't think we had Slendy or George mic'd up, so I guess that just leaves my last word, which is thanking you guys for hanging out with us on camera. Also, Jean-Michel was here earlier. I think he lost power. That's why he dropped out. I know he's had that problem a couple of times on these streams where his power goes out in the middle of the stream and he leaves without saying anything, but I'm pretty sure that's what happened to him. I want to thank the YouTube chat for their participation in today's chat. And other than that, I want to thank the patrons that couldn't be here. I'm going to show some cards here on the screen. These should be up to date. Tried to update these recently. And other than that, everybody wave bye to YouTube. I'm the only one on camera, though. Bye, YouTube.
Bye,
YouTube. Bye-bye.